Hello students. So it gives me immense pleasure and self-satisfaction to welcome all my student listeners from schools spread across Sikkim, namely my own school, Government Girls Senior Secondary School, Deorali, New Light Academy, Namchi, Tasa Tenge Senior Secondary School in Chungthang, and Mongshila Senior Secondary School. Thank you all for taking my lessons into consideration. Your support indeed has proven to be a big motivating factor for me during this lockdown phase. Anyways, today I would like to start a new poem from your first flight text titled The Tale of Custard the Dragon, penned down by Ogden Nash. Our poet Frederick Ogden Nash was born on 19th August 1902 in New York, United States. He was an American poet, well known for his light verse, of which he wrote over 500 pieces. With his unconventional rhyming schemes, he was declared the country's best-known producer of humorous poetry. He died on 19th May 1971 in Maryland, United States. So this poem is about a little girl called Belinda who owns many pets, namely a black kitten, a grey mouse, a yellow dog, and a coward or a weak dragon. It is a comical and fun poem written in the form of a ballad. Now, for those who don't know what a ballad is, well, a ballad is a poem or a song narrating a story in short stanzas. Let's get started. But before that, I want you to hold your book and turn to page 129 and follow me as I read. So here I go, stanza wise. So in the first stanza, the poet introduces us to the main characters. The poet says that there once lived a little girl named Belinda. She lived in a little white house with 4 of her pets. They were a black kitten, a grey mouse, a yellow dog, and a really truly dragon. Okay, so let us discuss the literary devices, and we shall do so by first discussing the rhyme scheme. So please look at the last words of each line. So the last word in line 1 is house, line 2 is mouse, line 3 is wagon, and line 4 is dragon. So by the virtue of house being in the first line, okay, we follow A. We follow this alphabetical pattern, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay. So the first word, the first word will automatically become A. So since house and mouse, they rhyme, it becomes A. Now if you look at line C, it is wagon. So house and wagon does not rhyme. Wagon and mouse also does not rhyme. So because house and mouse is A, wagon becomes B. Alright? And dragon and wagon rhyme, so it becomes, again, dragon also becomes B. So your rhyme scheme is AABB. So I hope now the rhyme scheme is clear. So in this poem, throughout the poem, the rhyme scheme will be AABB. Alright? Now the second is repetition. Now by the word repetition, it means repeat. So if you look at the first stanza, you will get to see that the word little has been repeated all over. Okay? Belinda lived with a little black. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little, see, everywhere is little. So the use of the word little has been repeated. So that is repetition for you. Then the third literary device you see is oxymoron. Now, oxymoron is when you use two words with opposite meaning. It is called an oxymoron. Alright. So a pet dragon. Now see, pet is something that an animal that you keep at home. You tame it and keep it, right? And whereas a dragon is supposed to be a wild animal, all right? But see, the poet has used these two words together, pet dragon, which never happens, all right? So because these are opposites. So when you use two words with opposite meanings, it is called an oxymoron, right? Now you see anaphora. Now anaphora is repeated use of the word at the start of two consecutive lines. Now if you look there, and has been repeated, and a little, and a really. So that those two are anaphora for you. And now in line 4, you will come across two words which you probably have never heard before. So those are relio and trulio. Now actually, the poet has intentionally misspelled the word. It actually was supposed to be real and true. Alright? Real for relio and true for trulio. But the poet has done that. He has intentionally done it so as to create a musical effect. So when a poet does that to create a musical effect, it is called a poetic license in English. Okay? Actually, that word does not exist, but the poet has intentionally, deliberately misspelled the word. Alright, so that is poetic device for you. Okay, so in stanza 2, the poet gives us the names of the pets of Belinda. So in stanza 1, he's already told us that Belinda has 4 pets. So now he tells us the name. The name of the black kitten was Ink. The name of the grey mouse was Blink. The name of the yellow dog, because it was yellow in color, he was known as Mustard. And the dragon was called Custard. Okay, but because Belinda always felt that the dragon was a weakling. A coward is somebody who's not brave, alright, who's always afraid, who's scared. So because Belinda felt that, he was a weakling, she called him Custard. Although he was a dragon, dragons are supposed to be very ferocious, right? But because he was a coward, she gave him a very soft name called Custard, alright? So now let's look at the literary devices. So we get to come across a literary device called simile. Now simile is when you compare two different things by using the word like or as. So a dog has been compared to a mustard, alright? So if you look at line number 3, you will see, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard. So when a dog is being compared to a mustard, the poet has, compared it by using the word as. So that is a simile for you, alright? Then we have something called alliteration. Now alliteration is repetition of a consonant sound. So if you look here, coward and custard. See, but the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. So the C sound has been repeated here. C for coward, C for custard. Next we have anaphora. Anaphora means the repeated use of a word at the start of two consecutive lines. Okay, so if you look again at line number 2 and 3, and the little grey mouse in line 2, and the little yellow dog in line 3, and the little, alright, has been repeated here. So that is anaphora for you. And of course there is repetition, and the word little has been repeated here. So now in stanza 3, we get to see the poet explain more about the dragon. He describes more about the dragon, and he says that this dragon has big sharp teeth and spikes on top. Spikes means thin pointed surface, all right. Then he also says that on the lower part it has scales which were bony plates, okay, to protect the skin. Then the poet compares the mouth of the dragon to that of a fireplace. Why? Now, fireplace is a place which is supposed to be very hot when lit. So likewise, the dragon, it is said that when a dragon is angry, it releases fire from its mouth. So that is why here the poet has described the mouth of the dragon, and he has compared it to that of the fireplace. Then the poet has also compared the dragon's nose to a chimney. Like a chimney releases smoke, the dragon's nose also releases smoke. And his feet, the dragon's feet, are being compared to sharp knife. Okay, now sharp knife, the word used here, dagger, means a very, very sharp knife. So the poet is trying to say that the dragon's toes or the nails are very sharp. Okay, so now here too we get to come across simile. Now, simile I've already told you, when you compare two different things by using the word like, L-I-K-E, like, or as. Alright? So here the dragon's mouth is compared with fireplace. So if you look at the stanza, you get to see this in line number 3. Mouth like a fireplace. So the word like has been used to compare the mouth of a dragon with that of a fireplace. So that is a simile for you. Then of course the refrain, repetition of a sentence again and again. Okay, so there is something called anarilio trillio. So again you find a refrain here. Then we have something called metaphor. Now metaphor is when you compare two unlike things, different things, without using the word like or as. So simile and metaphor are somewhat the same in terms of comparison. Yes, both compare things. But in simile, when you compare, you use the word like or as, while in metaphor you directly compare, okay, without making use of the word like or as. So here, if you look at line number 3 again, mouth like a fireplace, that was a simile because mouth has been compared to a fireplace by using the word like. But if you look at this line, chimney for a nose, okay, so chimney has been compared to a nose but without making the use of like or as. So that is a metaphor for you. So in stanza 4, we get to see the poet explaining the inner strength or the bravery of the various characters of the poem. Okay, so he says that Belinda, the little girl, was so brave. She was as brave as a group of bears. Okay, and he also says that Ink and Blink. Now, who are they? The cat and the mouse. That's right. So he says that Ink and Blink were also so brave that they could hunt a lion. They were so brave that they could actually chase a lion down the stairs. Now imagine a lion being chased by a cat and a mouse. Anyways, the dog is being compared to an angry tiger, and the poet is saying that the dog was so brave, just like an angry tiger. While the dragon, okay, in contrast to all of them, the dragon was not at all brave. He was so afraid of everything that all he wanted was a safe cage. He did not want to show his, bravery, or he did not flaunt his bravery. Neither did he feel that he was brave. So all he wanted was a safe cage. Now, if you zoom into the picture, you will see what I mean by all these. And enjoy this piece where you get to see the lion being chased by the brave kitten and mouse. Okay, now for the literary device. Here we get to come across alliteration. So, alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound, right? So, Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. So the sound B has been repeated here. Belinda B, brave B, barrel B, and bears B. Alright? Then we come across simile. Now, simile I've already told you when you compare two different things by using the word like or as. So here Belinda's bravery is compared to that of a barrel full of bears. Now it says here Belinda was as brave as a barrel. So the word as has been used here. So that is simile for you. Then we come across assonance. Now assonance means when you make use of vowel sound. Alright. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. So the sound A. Okay, the vowel sound A-E-I-O-U makes up a vowel, right? So the vowel sound A has been used here, so that is why this is an assonance. Okay, so in this stanza we come across the fact that Belinda used to stroke the dragon in a very cruel way. Now, and generally when you stroke somebody, it is out of love, but here Belinda used to do it in a very cruel way. Okay, she was very mean. She used to do it in a very meanish way. And here, Ink, Blink and Mustard made fun of him by comparing him to a knight. Now, who is Ink, Blink and Mustard? Ink is the kitten, Blink is the mouse, and Mustard is the dog. So they used to make fun of the dragon by saying that you look like the knight named Percival. Now, knights are supposed to be very brave, but this particular knight called Percival was not at all brave. Alright, he was somebody who ran away due to lack of courage. So now they are comparing the dragon, that is Custard, to Percival, who ran away due to lack of courage. Alright, so they used to tease Custard, and they used to do that by sitting in their little red wagon. They were very mean. Alright, now let us look at the literary devices used here. So we come across refrain. Now refrain, like I've already told you, it is a repetition of a sentence again and again. So here again they've used the words at the relio trulio. Alright, so that is a refrain for you. Okay, then we have something called repetition. Repetition, like I've already told you, is when you repeat a word. So here the word tickled him has been repeated, so we say there is repetition. Then we have something called allusion. Allusion is when you refer to any person or place. Okay, so they refer Percival. Okay, they refer to Percival. They compare the dragon to a knight called Percival. All right. Then, of course, we have personification. Now, Ink, Blink, Mustard, they rudely call him Percival. See? So, these, you are personifying all these like as if they are real human beings. Alright? So, that is, when we say that there is something called personification. Personification is when you, personify an inanimate thing. In the next stanza, the poet says that Belinda, she used to laugh so loud that her voice echoed in the house and it actually shook the house. Alright. Then the poet also says that the other animals, Blink, Ink and Mustard, they were very mean towards, the dragon, that is Custard, and Mouse also used to laugh and make a sound of wink. And on the other hand, Ink and Mustard would tease him by asking the dragon his age whenever he used to demand for a nice cage. Okay, so the literary device that we get to see here is onomatopoeia. Now, what is onomatopoeia? It is the use of a sound to create a dramatic effect. Alright, so we get to see words like giggled and weak. And then, of course, we have repetition, like Custard cried for a nice safe cage. So repetition has been done here. Okay, so that is why we get to say that it has been repeated. Custard cried for a nice safe cage has been repeated. So while they were making fun of the dragon, they heard a sound of someone entering the house. When they looked towards the window, they saw a pirate climbing up the wall. The dog? Yes, he barked at them, and the kitten mewed to him. Belinda cried, "Ooh!" because all of them were scared of the pirate. Okay, so once again we get to see the use of the consonant sound. So that is a consonance, right? So the use of the word or the sound S. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound. So then we have onomatopoeia. Like if you listen to it or if you look at the book, you get to see the usage of sound words to create a dramatic effect. The mustard growled. Meouch, cried ink. So see, there is two different sounds. One of the dog and the other of the cat. Then of course we have poetic license. See, there is nothing like window, alright? It is actually used for window. But I told you, the poets have the license to misspell the word and write it so as to create rhythm and rhyme. So for window, he has written window. And then we get to see the pirate, another character in the story. Alright? So the poet describes the appearance of the pirate here. He says that the pirate was holding handguns in both his hands and that he had a black beard and his one leg was made of wood. This means that though the pirate was a disabled person, he still looked frightening than all the other characters. Moreover, his intention was to harm them. So now we come across a figure of speech called alliteration. Alright, so alliteration means occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of closely connected words. Now if you look here, you will get to see beard was black, the beard was black. Alright, so the letter B is very close, right? So that is why the sound B or the letter B. And then you see another line where it says he held his. Alright, he held his, that's in line number 2. He held in his teeth. So the letter H has been repeated here. H. Alright, so that is alliteration for you. Then we have something called imagery. Now imagery is when an image is created. Okay, for example, here in this poem, the poet introduces us to the pirate. We do not see the pirate, but we can actually imagine just by the description provided here. Okay, so that is imagery for you. Now in the next stanza, when everybody sees the pirate, everybody gets so frightened that, Belinda, she turns yellow and then she starts crying out for help. She actually yells out, "Help, help!" The kitten then runs down towards the bottom of the house as if like he had already planned, where he would be going. And the mouse, the name of the mouse is Ink, right? The mouse Ink also ran into his little mouse hole in order to save himself. Now that is the effect that the pirate created. Okay, he looked really scary. Okay, so the next literary device we get to see is transferred epithet. So transferred epithet is in which a modifier, so the modifier is usually an adjective, so in which a modifier qualifies a noun other than the person or thing it actually is describing. For example, wonderful day. So the day cannot be wonderful, right? It is something that takes place during that day that becomes wonderful. So likewise, here in this stanza, the poet has made use of the word called terrified yelp. Now yelp is a sharp cry. Okay, it's a sudden cry. Terrified is scared. So it wasn't the cry that was scared, but rather it was the dog that was scared, right? So this is transferred epithet for you. Now repetition. Again here the word help has been repeated. Well, now we see a twist in the story. Now if you remember, all the other characters that were earlier defined as very brave, they all got frightened, and the dragon did the most unexpected thing. He jumped onto the pirate and made such a strong noise with his nose, as if the engine was producing a sound. Not only this, he hit his tail on the ground with great force that it produced a heavy sound of metal being rubbed against each other in the underground prisons. He attacked the pirate just like Robin Hood attacks the worm. So here we get to see the change, alright? All those animals who were considered brave earlier, they ran away, while the coward Custard, okay, he was called coward by them. So this Custard, the dragon, he came to save everyone. Now we come across literary device like simile. I've already told you what a simile is, right? So here the sound of the dragon is being compared with the sound of the engine. Snorting like an engine, so the word like has been used. Clashed his tail like irons in a dungeon, again like has been used. Dragon's attack on pirate is compared to Robin Hood, like a robin at a worm. Again the word like has been used. So that is simile for you. Now we have onomatopoeia, that's usage of sound words to create a dramatic effect. So clatter, clank and jangling all are onomatopoeias. Then of course we do have imagery. Imagery is we can actually imagine, okay, the attack by the dragon is expressed in a way to make an image in our minds. So when we read about the dragon attacking the pirate, we can actually create an image in our mind. Okay, so now when the pirate saw the sudden reaction of the dragon, the pirate was so shocked that he could do nothing but open his mouth wide open with shock. Okay, wide with shock. So then see, there is this word called gaped. Gaped is, the meaning of gaped is when you stare at someone with your mouth wide open, alright? So now he was so scared, the pirate was so scared that in order to gather some strength, he took out some alcohol from his container in his pocket and then he started drinking it because he thought alcohol will give him courage. And then courage he got some courage. He then took out his pistol and fired 2 shots or fired 2 bullets on the dragon. But luckily for the dragon, and unluckily for the pirate, he missed it. The dragon was so angry, Custard got so angry that he jumped at the pirate and he gobbled him up. That means he started swallowing the pirate. Okay, so we now again come across alliteration. I've already told you alliteration is when there is an occurrence of the same sound or letter at the beginning of closely connected words. So in this case, alliteration here is gulped some grog. So the letter G or the sound G has been repeated. Then of course we have imagery again. Imagery, like I've been telling you, it is when you can actually create some image in your mind, alright? So they have shown the reaction and actions made by the pirate on seeing the dragon so that we can actually form an imagination there. So that is imagery. Okay, so now that Custard the dragon was eating the pirate and everybody came to know that they were safe, Belinda hugged the dragon and Mustard licked him. No one was sad for the death of the pirate because everyone was happy that they all were safe. Both Ink and Blink were running around the dragon in happiness. So here the poet says that all the characters were happy and they were showing the gratitude towards the dragon as he had saved them. Alright? So now everybody seems to be very, very grateful towards the dragon. Okay, so we have alliteration again. So the word G or the sound G has been repeated. Glee did gyret. The sound G has been repeated. And of course, then we have assonance, that is use of vowel sound O. No one mourned for. So O has been repeated. Use of vowel sound I. Ink and blink in glee did. So I has been repeated. And the use of vowel sound A. That ate the pirate. So the sound A has been repeated. Okay, then after they realized that everyone was safe, they thanked the dragon for having had saved their life. All right, and they showed their love towards the dragon. Then they changed their minds again. They were reminded of how they used to make fun of this coward dragon, and now they were all praising him. So at once the dog said that it was just because of some confusion that he wasn't able to do anything. Otherwise he would have been twice as brave as Custard. Now look at him. Now the dog, he feels that, there was a slight confusion because of which I ran away. Actually, I'm braver than Custard. So that is what the dog says. The minute Ink and Blink hears this, they also start saying that they are 3 more times braver than Custard. They say, that's nothing, we are 3 more times braver than Custard. Poor Custard, the dragon, he does not say anything. He just agrees and he says, yes, you all are braver than me. You all are more powerful than me. And then he just keeps quiet. Okay, so the only literary device here is the rhyme scheme, and I've already told you throughout the poem it is AABB. Now in stanza 14, what we get to see is, the poet has made use of the same lines again to show that after this terrific episode in which the dragon was the hero, where all the other characters still undermined him by saying that they were more powerful than him and could have handled the situation in much a better way, the poet says that life started again in the same manner. Refrain how? Because the repetition of a sentence has been done again and again, and Aurelio Trulio, and repetition because the entire stanza has been repeated. Alright? So this stanza, the last stanza, has been repeated, and hence I'm not going to explain it. You will be able to look for the explanation if you just rewind it or go in the beginning of this lesson. Okay, apart from that, I hope you all understood this story and the poem. It's kind of fun, if you try reading it loud in front of a mirror, and you'll kind of enjoy the rhyming scheme. It's actually fun, so just try. Alright? And so I'm sure you all enjoyed it. I hope you did. So the message that you get from this poem is that you should never judge anyone by its appearance. Like they say, never judge a book by its cover. So that is the message that you should always, keep in mind. So children, I have included some questions. Okay, and you all don't have to submit it to me, but then this is just for your understanding. I just want to see whether you've actually understood and whether you'll be able to interpret in your own way or not. So you can just read the question, try to solve it, and then show it to your respective teachers. Alright, so having said that, take care and stay home, stay safe.